Today, what we're going to discuss is building work boxes. But before we get started, I just want to share with you from my own personal experience why I created student work boxes for my kids. At one time, we had all 4 of the children doing school, and it didn't take long for the table to become piled up with curriculum. And after they were finished, they would get up, leave the table, and I was left to put up all of the books and to figure out whose papers were what and where they needed to go. And it didn't take me long to figure out that this is not the way we were going to do school. And so what I did is I went out and I got 4 milk crates. And I brought those milk crates home and I told the kids that they were responsible to keep their curriculum in the milk crate. It was expected of them and they did a great job. Over time, I was able to take different things that we needed to incorporate into our school and add files into those milk crates, and it became even more of a student box and more of a responsibility for the children to keep up with instead of mom. And so today, that's what I want us to talk about, and how I want to show you how you can build a student work box to work for you and your family. We all know that curriculum gets very heavy. And we know that for one child, you may have 5, 6, 7 books. So you're going to need something box-wise that's going to be able to hold the curriculum. And so today I'm going to be using a box from our Simple Plan collection. It's a file box, has these handy-dandy handles on them for you, but it's also something that I didn't mind look-wise sitting around in my kitchen too. And it has a lid and it stacks very nice. And so for that purpose, we're going to be using this box today to demonstrate our work box. So the first thing is that I would put all of the kids' curriculum inside the box, and I keep it toward the back of the box and then the files toward the front. And so now you have a place for all of their curriculum to go. This would be their books, their reading books, their library books, as well as any activity books that they have or workbooks that they use. It would go inside of your student work box. Okay, we're going to look at the files that I've created. I'm asked an awful lot, well, what kind of things did you have your kids keep up with? And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through our file system that I used with our children. The very first file that I have in here is independent work. This was work that I knew that they could do on their own. It was things that, like puzzles for the younger ones, word searches, if they had some activity books that I could pull some pages out of, or even if it was from their curriculum and I knew that they could do it independently, I would stick it in that file. Now, the purpose of this was that when the phone rang, or when I had to step away from the table, or when I had to work with one of the children a little longer than expected, that the other children had an activity or something that would keep them going, that I wouldn't lose their attention. And so for that reason, I would tell them, go to your work box and get your independent work out and start working on that. And so it keeps them in the flow and it keeps their momentum going toward taking care of their schoolwork. The next file that I had in here was their co-op lessons. We participated in co-ops on and off throughout the years, and usually, a co-op will meet 1 day a week, and so on that day, they're given work for the whole week. Well, mom still is expected to go over that work, to check it, to make sure that the child's understanding the concepts. And so what I would do is I would have a co-op file in their work box that when they had completed it, they put it in that file. And then I knew that I could sit down and go through it in the evening or look over it. If we needed to go back through something, we could. But they knew that as soon as it was done, that's where it went. Now, the third file that I have in here is their weekly chores. This is things that are above and beyond just helping out in the family. We had chores in our home that were just expected. But we had special chores that were assigned to each of the children, and those chores were things that they actually were given a little money for at different times, and it helped them earn money and become responsible in that way. So I would keep that chore list inside of their file folder for them. And then on Friday, we would sit down, and that was one thing that especially the older ones were real excited to do, was get out their chore list. We'd go through, we would talk about things that were not done, things that were completed, and then they were given their allowance for the weekend. And so, if that's something you want to incorporate in your box, fantastic. And if it's not, that's okay too. It's basically what meets your family's needs. Now, the next file in here was called Ready to Grade. This became a very important file. We all know what it's like to have papers laying everywhere and how chaotic that can be and how we lose work, how the kids lose their work. And so to be able to keep up with it, I created this Ready to be Graded file. And what they would do is as soon as they were done with their work, they put it in this file. We didn't leave things in our textbooks. If we were doing a traditional textbook where they had activity sheets, we tore those sheets out and we put them in here. And so this helped me too, not to miss anything, because now I had that work right in front of me. And as soon as I had time to sit down and go through it and to discuss it with them, we would. And I knew exactly where it was going to be, and the kids knew exactly where to put it. And then after I had graded it, it was ready to be filed. And so it went into the Ready to File folder. Now, I want to explain to you what the Ready to File folder is. It is not a place for the whole year's worth of school to be accumulated. It is a place that where, depending on you, Mom, what you like, if you want your children to put it in a 3-ring binder, then you need to set the standard for that and let them know, okay, at the end of every school week on Friday, school is not officially done until your work is taken out of your hanging file folder and placed in your 3-ring binder. Now, some of you may not care if it stays in there, and maybe you have a place that you want to put it, whatever. The important thing is you're finding a system that works for you. But I'm just going to share with you what I did and how I kept our school stuff organized. So as soon as it went into the Ready to File, what that meant is that my kids were to get out their 3-ring binder. And I would get the largest 3-ring binder that I could find. Usually that's about a 3 to 3.5 inch in your local stores. And I would get it, and I had a file or a divider for every subject that we were doing. And every week the kids would get their work out of their file folder and take it and put it under the proper tab. And you know, depending on how you are, you can be as detailed in this as you want to be, or you can just have them slap them into the 3-ring binder if that's what you want. But I wanted them under the subject, and this actually became a great record keeping, because one of the great things about this is that now their whole school year, all of their paperwork that they have completed is in one place. All of their subjects are under one tab. And for those states that look at that progress, you've got it to show them in the form of this 3-ring binder. Not to mention at the end of the school year, all of your work is accumulated in one nice, neat place. If you have a notebook like this one that has the plastic over the top, you can actually stick a page down in there that has your child's school year, their name, all the info in it, and now you have this to file away. Speaking from experience, it's a lot easier to have 3-ring binders labeled and in your attic than it is a bunch of loose papers that you've collected through the years. I hope this helps, and good luck on building your student box.